Welcome to the lecture, Little Things You Should Know, from lifestyle tips, transportation, and entertainment. The first thing I want to make you aware of is as long as you are in the tourist areas, the sidewalks are fine. But the minute you go out into this, off into the side streets or the areas where you will shop because you're an expat and you don't want to shop where the tourists shop, it's much more expensive, you're going to run into disastrous sidewalk. All I can tell you is if you see something that you want to explore or look at, just stop and look at what you want to look at and then continue to walk. You will need to look down more often than not in order to stay out of the emergency room. There are many incidents where expats end up in the emergency room with toe, foot, ankle, leg injuries due to the sidewalks. And no, there's no one to sue. You cannot sue anyone in Mexico because the sidewalk tripped you. Cruise ships is big business here in Puerto Vallarta area. And during peak season, you can find up to 3 large mega cruise ships in port. As you know, there has been some problems, health problems on some of these cruise ships. So what you want to do as often as possible, especially after using public transportation, is you want to wash your hands as often as possible. Like in many Asian and Middle Eastern countries, it is best not to put tissue paper in the toilet. This holds true for many parts of Mexico. This may not hold true in the major resort areas or hotels, but when you're living on the economy or you're living in the local community, putting tissue paper in the toilet is an absolute no-no. Most people have their monies from their retirement accounts placed into U.S. banks automatically, automatic deposit. That's the best way to do it. Just have your money put into the U.S. bank or your bank in Canada or Europe, wherever it is that you're from. Now, it is always best if you have credit cards that you keep safely. You don't do your daily chores running around with your credit cards. You just want to kind of keep your credit card safe with your passport. You want to use your debit card from day to day. And the reason is because you do not want exposure to a credit card with $10,000 on it. We have not had any real problems here in Puerto Vallarta. There are no Bank of Americas here, and there are no Wells Fargos. Now, if you have been doing with business with Bank of America and Wells Fargo for decades and years, and you can't afford to leave them, that's understandable. Just open up a little side bank account with Citibank, and you can transfer your monies out of your Bank of America or Wells Fargo banks into your Citibank for spending here in Mexico. You can do all of that online. You want to use your debit card because for another reason is because the image to the far right at the top, you don't want to use out of the way ATM machines because what happens is they sometimes duplicate, and I don't know how they do this, but they duplicate your card, and before you know it, someone's going around town spending money on your debit card or your credit card. That's why you want to leave your credit card at home and just use your debit cards. But just stay away from small ATM machines that are out of the way and don't look like they're a part of the mix with the overall banking system. I have yet to find or see an ATM machine in Mexico that spits out US dollars. They all operate in pesos. So don't become frightened when you see up on the screen, okay, you managed to manipulate or to do the transaction in the ATM. It will ask you if you wanted to talk to you in English or Spanish. You click English, and then you get to the screen that you want to withdraw, and it has these amounts: $100, $500, $1,000, $3,000, $5,000. No, it is not US dollars, it's pesos, so don't get all upset. It's pesos. You're not going to break your bank account. Just because you got a lot of pesos doesn't mean that you're having to spend a lot of US dollars. Now the same goes with Canadian money or any money from all around the world. Okay, ATM machines at the airport are usually very, very safe. You should not have any problems, and there generally is, at the airport, there are generally several different types of ATM machines. Staying safe. You stay safe in Mexico the same way you stay safe in America or any other country. You avoid the ATM late at night. If everyone that you are around disappears suddenly, they're just off the street, you do the same. If you go out alone at night, stay among the crowds. And that's another way of saying if everybody disappears, you do the same. If you want to get drunk, stay home and drink, or hire a chaperone. You can hire chaperones. You just put it on Craigslist that you need a chaperone, blah, 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 and vet your chaperone, go out with your chaperone. If you live alone, this fact should never be included in your first conversation with a stranger. This rule applies for both men and women, but it definitely applies for men. The women here in Mexico are beautiful, and they love sugar daddies. They're always on the look for a sugar daddy. Now, a sugar daddy in Mexico not only takes care of his girlfriend, but he takes care of the whole family. Don't get frightened. $500 a month, US dollars, is a lot of money for a family. But that's not how it is with everyone. I'm just letting you know, when you're out at night, you're going to run into that kind of thing when you're in that kind of environment. And women, don't worry, the Mexican men are just as gorgeous. And let's talk about the buses. This bus goes to Puerto Vallarta, Bucerías, Punta Mita, or Sayulita. You catch this bus in front of Walmart, and it will say on front of the bus which towns that it's going to, because the Sayulita bus doesn't go necessarily to the Punta Mita town. So you have to ask before you get on the bus. And it's anywhere from 30 to 55 pesos depending on where you're going. The hub in front of Walmart's is where you catch the local buses to almost anywhere in the area. If you enjoy swimming in the ocean, learn what riptides are and learn how to spot them and learn how to escape one. Now, I don't do swimming above bathtub level without a life jacket. So as far as I'm concerned, a riptide stands for rest in peace. I cannot stress the seriousness on this. There are some serious riptides in the bay, and if you get caught in one, you have to know how to get out of it, or it's bye-bye. So do your homework if you love to swim in the ocean, and learn the details of riptides. There's a lot to do in Puerto Vallarta. Fishing, professional fishing, parasailing, parachuting, the liquor store, scuba diving. Ventures Vallarta is one of the best and safest adventure tour companies. Just because you live here doesn't mean you can't go sign up for one of the great adventures.